Hi, this is Emily Lee, part of Art from the Heart, and I'm excited to be introducing the Ahoy Me Hearty stamp set from Paper Smooches. I'll be using several of the images and sentiments to create a fun scene. I'll also be using masking and selective inking to convert the mad scientist from great chemistry into a pirate. To start, I'm going to stamp the scientist on a piece of masking paper. Then I'm going to cut off sections that I don't want as part of the pirate. I'm making him bald, so I cut off his hair. I also don't want the pocket on his jacket or the bow tie. I'm going to give him a new face, so I'm removing that as well. I probably could have cut out his face, bow tie, and pocket all in one piece, but 4 pieces isn't too many to puzzle back together. What I'm going to do now is grab a piece of Neenah cardstock for my final image and Copic coloring. I'm going to arrange all of these pieces back together as one unit. When that's done, I'm going to remove the main piece. This is where I want the ink to show up on the white cardstock. So basically that's everything except the hair, face, bow tie, and pocket. I line up the stamp with the mask as best as I can, apply quite a bit of pressure, and now I can remove the rest of the masking paper. Unfortunately, I realized the camera wasn't on after I stamped the mouth, but basically I used a Memento Tuxedo black marker, so the marker version of the ink pad, to selectively ink up the mouth of the scientist and then stamped it upside down, so it looks like the pirate is scowling and saying, "Yarr!" Now I'm using that same marker to selectively ink up the nose and stamp that just above the mouth. Keep in mind that stamping with the marker will never be as clear as using the ink pad, but it's a nice way to breathe new life into your characters' faces. In place of the bow tie, I'm going to have him wearing a big gem pendant. Originally, I wanted to stamp it where the bow tie was, but since I hadn't thought of it in advance and the gem would overlap with the lines of the collar, I'll stamp it separately and adhere it on top of his shirt later. Now I'm going to use the pen end of the marker to fill in the lines that didn't stamp clearly after all the masking. I actually prefer using the Copic multi-liners for this particular task since they come in different widths that match the thickness of the lines. I would have only had to go over it once to fill in the lines, but since I already had the Memento marker out, that's what I'm using. Both types work well and are Copic compatible, but it's really a matter of personal preference. Now that all of the images are stamped, I can go ahead and color everything with Copic markers. This was the most time-consuming part in creating this card, and I felt like I hadn't used my Copic markers in a while, so it was a lot of fun. After coloring in his face, I used neutral grays for his jacket. Next, I color in his pants and boots. I'm going to use brown for his eyebrows as well as the glove. Now I move on to the parrot, which was so much fun to color. Everyone is going to color this guy so uniquely, and I can't wait to see him out there in Blogland. You'll notice that something happened to my gold Copic marker and it left a pool of ink on the gem, so I had to re-stamp and color it again. I've never had a marker do that, and I do store them horizontally in a Copic cubby, so hopefully it was just a one-time thing. I'm just glad it didn't happen to the pirate or the parrot. When all the coloring is done, I can trim everything out. I was debating whether I should include all this in the video, but I decided to leave it in and speed it up 20 times. It looks rather funny to watch it that fast. I sure wish I could fussy cut that fast. Could you imagine? Now I'm just playing with the pirate's face. I also add Wink of Stella to the gem to sparkle it up. That just had to be done. To create an eye patch, I'm going to use the insert from the letter E on the love word die. It's the perfect size and shape. Here I'm just trying to decide whether the hat should go in front or behind the eyebrows. I swapped the googly eye and patch, and it just makes me laugh how funny he looks. It's finally time to assemble all the pieces. I'm starting with a light gray card base. I use the Borders 1 dies to cut the water, hills, and sandy beach. I'm going to stamp the ship in the water, so I just need to figure out where the main images are going. I decide to stamp the ship off to the side, so I'm going to center the pirate and his parrot so I can show more of the ship. I use the die-cut waves and a pencil to mark the edge of the water. That way I know exactly where to stamp the ship. I stamp the ship and quickly erase the pencil lines. Now I can start to assemble the card. I quickly put the background strips together, and now I'm going back to finish the pirate. His eye patch needs straps, so I'm going to use this curved stem from the flowers dies. After die cutting it, I'm going to put it through the Xyron sticker maker since it's easier than using a liquid adhesive on such a delicate die cut. As I mentioned in a previous video, it's important to press down on the top sheet so that the gummy adhesive is completely lifted off when the clear backing is removed. I position the strap with the eye patch and then snip off the excess. Now I use glue dots to adhere the patch as well as the googly eye and the gem. The pirate hat and parrot will all be adhered to the card on foam tape. Since my pirate looks like he's scowling, I want him to say "Yarr!" I'm going to create a custom sentiment that says "Yarr, matey!" So I'm going to use matey from Yo, matey. To create the word "yarr," I'm going to use the AR from hearty and add the Y from yo. This involves using washi tape to mask off bits and pieces of each sentiment and then stamping them individually until I have my full custom sentiment. I love the little exclamation mark from Mini Monogram, so I'm going to use that at the end of the sentiment. I feel that the card needs something on the left side to balance the ship, so I'm going to add a cloud in the sky using one of the Curly Clouds dies. I'm going to give it a black outline and a white insert to complement the other black and white bits on the card. Once again, I'm using the Xyron sticker maker to adhere the cloud, and I just trim what is hanging off the edge of the card. I use glue dots to adhere the insert to make the cloud appear a little puffy. Now my card is done. Before I go, I want to invite you all to a very special event happening next Wednesday, February 4th. I've organized a video hop to celebrate a couple of milestones, and I've invited 9 of your favorite video artists as well as 8 incredible sponsors. I hope to see you there. Please refer to the supply links below if you're interested in any of the products I used in this video. You can also visit my blog for stills and more information about my work. Thanks so much for watching.